Welcome to our channel. Today, you are about to hear one of the most powerful, inspiring, and emotional stories in the world of automobiles. A story that began with a dream, a woman's courage, a man's invention, a dictator's obsession, and a brand that became a symbol of luxury and power across the entire planet. This is not just about cars. This is about pain, history, struggle, success, failure, courage, war, redemption, and love. In this story, you will learn how a German inventor named Carl Benz created something the world had never seen before: a motor car. How his wife, Bertha Benz, changed history with one secret journey. How the company later became part of Nazi Germany's war machine, used by Adolf Hitler himself. How Mercedes-Benz faced the truth, admitted their dark past, and rose again to become one of the most respected brands in the world. And finally, how Mercedes became a symbol of status, from Germany to Dubai, from India to Hollywood, from history to the future. This is the real-life success story of Mercedes-Benz. A story that is emotional, deep, shocking, and unforgettable. So make sure to watch till the end, because this journey is full of surprises, lessons, and moments that will give you goosebumps. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you love stories that are real, powerful, and inspiring. We bring you true brand stories, motivational journeys, and untold facts that will help you grow, think, and dream bigger. Your support means everything to us. Now let's begin. Go back to the mid-1800s in Germany, in a world where people still used horses and carriages to travel. No one had ever imagined a machine that could move without horses. It sounded impossible. Some even called it madness. But one man had a dream. His name was Carl Benz. He was born in 1844 in a town called Karlsruhe, Germany. He was a mechanical engineer, intelligent, quiet, and always full of ideas. From a young age, Carl was obsessed with machines. While other boys played games, Carl drew pictures of gears, wheels, and engines. In his heart, he wanted to build something that could move on its own, something that could replace horses. But in those days, people didn't believe in such ideas. Everyone said, "Why do we need a car? We already have horses." But Carl didn't stop. He spent years of his life building an engine that could run on fuel, not on animals. It was small, noisy, and very different from anything the world had ever seen. But it worked. In 1885, Carl Benz finally built the world's first gasoline-powered automobile. It had 3 wheels, a small engine, and it looked like a strange bicycle. He called it the Benz Patent Motorwagen. But there was a problem. Nobody believed in it. Nobody wanted to buy it. People laughed at him. Some even called him crazy. He felt defeated. And then, someone very special came forward. This is where the story becomes truly magical. Carl's wife, Bertha Benz, was not just a wife. She was a visionary, a believer, and the real hero of this story. In a time when women weren't even allowed to vote, she decided to do something bold. One early morning in August 1888, without telling her husband, she took the car with her 2 sons and went on a journey. A journey that changed history. She drove from Mannheim to Pforzheim, a distance of 106 kilometers. This was the first long-distance car journey in the world. She didn't have maps. There were no mechanics to help her, no gas stations, no roads made for cars. But Bertha was brave. Along the way, she had to fix the car by herself. She used a hat pin to clean a blocked fuel pipe. She used her hairpin to fix a broken ignition. She stopped at a pharmacy to buy more fuel, making it the first gas station in history. People in the villages were shocked. Some thought she was a witch. Others couldn't believe that a woman was driving a metal horse. But Bertha didn't stop. After many hours, she reached her mother's house and sent a telegram to Carl saying, "The car works. The world is ready." That journey was not just a drive. It was a message to the world. And it worked. After that, people became curious. They came to see the car. Some laughed, but many were amazed. And slowly people started believing. Sales began. Orders came in. And what started in a small garage in Germany became the beginning of Mercedes-Benz. But the journey of Mercedes-Benz was far from over. That was just the beginning. Now, let's go deeper. While Carl Benz was working in one part of Germany, in another city, Stuttgart, there was another genius. His name was Gottlieb Daimler. He had the same dream as Carl, to build a vehicle that runs on fuel, not horses. But he wanted to go faster, stronger, and make machines for everyone, not just the rich. In 1886, around the same time Carl Benz was building his car, Daimler and his partner Wilhelm Maybach were also working on a small engine. And guess what? They succeeded. They created a small, light engine called the grandfather clock engine and installed it into a bicycle, making one of the first motorbikes in the world. Later, they added the engine into a four-wheeled vehicle just like Benz. So now, Germany had two men inventing the future of transportation. Separately, you might think Benz and Daimler worked together from the beginning. But no. For decades, they were rivals. Benz had his company, Benz and C. Daimler had his company, Daimler Motorengesellschaft, or DMG. They competed. They had different ideas, different engines, and even different customers. But something else was about to happen, something that would unite them forever. Now comes a very special part of this story. The name Mercedes. Where did it come from? Here's the truth. One of DMG's biggest supporters was a man named Emil Jelinek. He was a rich businessman, a car dealer, and a man who loved racing. He used to sell Daimler cars in France and Austria. But Emil had one condition. He told DMG, "I will sell your cars across Europe, but the car must be named after my daughter." Her name was Mercedes Jelinek. She was only 11 years old at that time. And that's how the name Mercedes was born. In 1901, DMG created a new car called the Mercedes 35 HP. It was beautiful, powerful, and fast. It changed the way cars were built, with a longer wheelbase, stronger engine, and lower body. People called it the first modern car. It was a huge success. Everyone started calling DMG cars Mercedes. And slowly, the name became more famous than the company itself. Then came World War I, 1914 to 1918. Germany was at war. Factories stopped making normal products. They started making weapons, military vehicles, and engines for warplanes. Benz and Sae. And Daimler DMG both had to stop their regular car business and support the war effort. They made engines for tanks, trucks, submarines, and aircraft. But after the war, Germany was broken. The economy was destroyed, the people were poor, and companies were bankrupt. Both Benz and Daimler companies were struggling to survive. In 1926, the two companies, Benz and Company and DMG, came together and became Mercedes-Benz. They combined Carl Benz's name, Daimler's engineering, and Mercedes as a brand. They were ready to conquer the world. And they did. Mercedes-Benz cars became a symbol of quality, engineering, and luxury. But something dark was on the horizon. Now we enter the most controversial and painful part of the story. In the 1930s, a man named Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany. He had big plans to make Germany strong again, to build roads, factories, and weapons. And guess who helped build those vehicles and engines? Yes, Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz became one of the key suppliers for Hitler's government. They made military trucks, engines, and even cars for the Nazi army. In fact, Hitler himself was often seen in a Mercedes-Benz 770, a huge black luxury car with bulletproof glass. This car became known as the Hitler car. But it gets worse. During the war, many German companies, including Mercedes, used forced labor. That means they took prisoners, Jews, and people from occupied countries and forced them to work in factories under terrible conditions. Over 40,000 people worked in such conditions in Mercedes factories during World War II. This part of the story is painful and dark, but it's also important to tell the truth. And Mercedes-Benz later admitted this, apologized publicly, and paid millions to help survivors and educate people about this part of history. They didn't hide from their past. They took responsibility, and that gave them respect. Germany was destroyed after World War II. Cities were in ruins, factories were bombed, people had nothing. But Mercedes-Benz began to rebuild from zero. They used whatever materials they had and started making small cars, delivery vans, and buses. In 1954, they introduced a new car that shocked the world. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing, with doors that opened like wings of a bird. It became an icon. From there, Mercedes kept growing year after year. They became a symbol of luxury, power, class, German engineering. Presidents, kings, businessmen, and even Hollywood stars began using Mercedes. From war to peace, from guilt to greatness, from a dream to a global legacy. But the road ahead was not easy, because now the world was changing fast. Let's dive into the journey of how Mercedes-Benz became a global luxury icon, how they fought powerful competitors, and how they entered the future with electric dreams. While most companies focused on speed or looks, Mercedes focused on something more important: safety. In the 1960s, Mercedes-Benz engineers asked a question: what if cars could save lives, not just move people? And that's when they started introducing life-saving features. Crumple zones, a special design that absorbs the impact during a crash so passengers stay safe. Seat belts. They promoted seat belts when many people didn't even care about them. Airbags. Mercedes was among the first to include airbags as standard in their cars. Anti-lock braking system, ABS. This system helps the car stay in control even when brakes are used suddenly. People began to say, if you want the safest car, buy a Mercedes. And this reputation lasted for decades. In the 1970s, the world saw another side of Mercedes-Benz: luxury, power, class. They launched their famous S-Class. This wasn't just a car, it was a moving palace. It had soft leather seats, wood-finish dashboards, smooth rides, powerful engines, quiet cabins, advanced technology for that time. Kings, queens, presidents, actors, and CEOs all started choosing Mercedes-Benz as their car. It became a symbol of success. In many countries, people would say, you know you've made it in life when you drive a Mercedes. By the 1980s, Mercedes-Benz wasn't just a German brand. It became a global icon. They entered America, where Mercedes became the top choice for Hollywood stars and Wall Street businessmen. India, where Mercedes was seen as the car of VIPs, ministers, and film stars. Middle East, where rich oil families bought fleets of Mercedes for their palaces. Africa, South America, and Asia. Mercedes was everywhere. They started building factories in other countries, not just Germany. They created local versions of their cars to suit different roads and climates. They were now competing worldwide and winning. But then came new challengers. BMW, another German company that focused on sporty, driver-focused cars. Audi, which introduced modern design and quattro all-wheel drive. Lexus, from Toyota, which offered Japanese luxury at lower prices. Jaguar, Volvo, Cadillac, all wanted a piece of the luxury market. Mercedes could not relax. So what did they do? They began upgrading faster. More powerful engines. More stylish designs. More advanced technology. Better mileage. More comfort options. They also started expanding their range. SUVs like the M-Class, later called GLE. Compact luxury cars like the C-Class and A-Class. Supercars like the SLR McLaren. In the early 2000s, Mercedes partnered with the famous British carmaker McLaren to build a supercar, the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. It was ultra-fast, ultra-light, super expensive. A combination of F1 racing technology and German engineering. This car became an icon, with only a few thousand made. It was for the richest of the rich. In the 2010s, Mercedes decided to go even higher. They launched the Maybach, a sub-brand for super luxury. These cars were even more luxurious than S-Class, custom-built for billionaires, with features like massage seats, refrigerators, 64-color ambient lighting, and privacy partitions. Mercedes Maybach became the favorite of celebrities like Jay-Z and Beyoncé, royals in the Middle East, ultra-rich in China, Russia, and India. It was like a private jet on wheels. Today, Mercedes-Benz knows the future is electric, so they created a new brand, EQ, which stands for Electric Intelligence. They launched EQS, the electric version of the S-Class, EQE, electric version of the E-Class, EQB, EQA, and EQC, electric SUVs. These cars have huge digital dashboards, voice assistant, "Hey Mercedes," fast charging, long battery life, super silent drives. Mercedes is investing billions to create electric-only factories, clean energy production, and next-level AI technology. Their goal? To become fully electric by 2030. And they're serious. You might wonder, why did Mercedes-Benz survive for over 100 years? Why did it become more trusted than Samsung, Hyundai, and even tech giants? Here's the secret. They kept improving, never satisfied. They learned from their mistakes. They faced their dark past. They believed in quality. They never chased only profits. They understood their audience. They moved with time, from fuel to hybrid to electric. Let's start with a question. Why do world leaders, kings, billionaires, and even secret agents in movies choose Mercedes-Benz? There's a reason why when a president visits another country, a Bollywood star is seen at the airport, a businessman enters a five-star hotel, or even when James Bond chooses a ride in some movies. The car waiting outside is often a Mercedes-Benz, because it says something without using words. I have arrived. I am respected. I trust only the best. Here are a few real examples. Nelson Mandela and his Mercedes 500 SE. After being released from 27 years in prison, South African leader Nelson Mandela became a global symbol of peace and forgiveness. And when he became president, the people of South Africa built him a Mercedes-Benz 500 SE by hand. Yes, more than 60 workers in the Mercedes-Benz factory in East London, South Africa, came together to build the car specially for him. And they didn't use machines. They built it entirely by hand, to honor him. This car was not made by Mercedes. It was made by the people for the man who brought peace to our country. This was more than a car. It was a symbol of hope. Princess Diana's secret Mercedes. In 1994, Princess Diana, one of the most loved figures in history, did something no other British royal had done. She started driving a Mercedes-Benz S280. It shocked the British media because royals were expected to drive only British brands like Rolls-Royce or Jaguar. But Diana chose Mercedes because she liked safety. She liked comfort. She liked freedom. But due to pressure, she had to return the car. Still, it showed the world that Mercedes wasn't just for power. It was for protection, too. Shah Rukh Khan, the king of Bollywood, once shared in an interview, "I used to see big men in big cars and dream that maybe one day I'll have one." Today, his Mercedes Maybach S580 is one of the most luxurious cars in India. This journey, from a middle-class boy in Delhi to a man sitting in a Maybach, is not just about success. It's about how a car becomes part of your life story. Now here's what truly makes Mercedes powerful. It's not just loved by kings and celebrities. It's trusted by families, taxi drivers, doctors, and daily people who believe in one thing: safety and trust. Let me tell you a story. In 2012, a father in Germany was driving his C-Class with his two young children in the back seat. They were going to a birthday party. Suddenly, a truck coming from the opposite direction lost control and crashed directly into their car. The car was destroyed. The front was smashed, and people thought nobody could survive such a crash. But when rescuers arrived, all three were alive. Why? Because the car had side airbags, crumple zones, reinforced steel, child seat protections, and the structure remained strong. When the father stepped out holding his crying children, he looked at the wrecked car and cried. But not in pain. He cried because he realized Mercedes saved his entire world. In 2016, Mercedes launched a system called MBUX, Mercedes-Benz User Experience. It's an AI-powered voice assistant built into the car. Now you could say, "Hey Mercedes, I'm cold," and the car would turn up the heat. "Hey Mercedes, take me to the nearest petrol station," and it would guide you. You think it ends here? No. Mercedes is now working on flying cars with Volocopter, a Mercedes partner. Self-driving cars using AI and satellite GPS. Biometric seats that check your stress levels. Eco-friendly factories that produce zero carbon. And cars that can even project movies on the windshield. They are creating cars that are not just transport. They are spaceships for the modern world. Now it's time to go deeper into the true meaning behind the logo. The dark chapters they never hide from. Their net worth today. And the powerful life lessons this brand teaches us. You've seen the three-pointed star inside a circle. It looks simple, but it's one of the most powerful brand symbols in the world. But what does it mean? 3 points, 3 worlds. Land, Air. C. Yes. When the logo was created, Daimler, one of the original founders, said, "Our engines will rule the land, the air, and the sea." It wasn't just a dream. It was a promise. And today, Mercedes makes luxury cars, land. They've partnered in aircraft and helicopters, air, and even marine engines, sea. That tiny logo holds a massive vision. Nothing is impossible. Now let's talk numbers. The company is part of Mercedes-Benz Group AG, formerly Daimler AG, one of the richest and most respected companies in the world. Here's what you need to know. Brand value, 2025, over 60 billion USD. Annual revenue, 2024, approx. 165 billion US dollars. Global employees, over 170,000 people. Cars sold in 2024, over 2.4 million vehicles. Net worth of Mercedes-Benz Group, estimated between 100 to 120 billion USD. They are ranked among the top 10 most valuable car brands in the world, competing with names like Toyota, Tesla, and BMW. But more important than money, they are rich in trust, loyalty, and reputation. Every big name has a past, and Mercedes doesn't run from theirs. They accept, apologize, and educate. During World War II, Mercedes factories were used by the Nazi government. They also used forced labor, prisoners, and war victims to build engines and vehicles. This is a dark truth. But unlike many companies, Mercedes-Benz publicly apologized, donated millions to Holocaust survivor funds, built memorials inside their factories, and shared all historical records with transparency. They teach us that success means nothing without humanity. Here are some powerful words from Mercedes over the years. The best or nothing. Safety is not just technology, it's responsibility. Luxury is not about price, it's about how you feel. And the best one, we don't sell cars. We create emotions. In May 2022, Mercedes-Benz sold a special ultra-rare car. 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe price? 143 million US dollars. Yes, it became the most expensive car ever sold in world history. Why? Because it wasn't just a car. It was art, history, and engineering genius on wheels. And only 2 units were ever made.